Welcome to the O Show, your number one podcast for everything training, mindset, and nutrition. I am your host, Oren McCarry, and it is my goal to help you access the best information around to allow you to kick ass in the gym, in the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. Between my own experiences and those of my amazing guests, I'm confident we will do that. So let's strap in and level up your life starting right now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to today's episode of The O Show. I am your host, Oren McCarry, and we are back with another episode. This time, a little bit of a business focus, but something that I think anyone can take away from about, reaching for goals and achieving them. We've got the mere man, Jarrod Miller, on the line. Jarrod, how are you today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, man. Honestly, thank you for having me on the channel. It's a pleasure.
Mate, it's something that we've been connected from somebody else who's like, you know what, this is going to be an epic guest. Give me a little bit of background to you, and I was like, you know what, that sounds like quite an interesting story. So, mate, I'm gonna let you put it into your own words rather than me and try to describe where it's at. So, like, how did you get into the fitness industry? And then we'll talk a little bit later about how it's grown. But what made you want to start in the fitness industry?
Yeah, so just give a bit of a background for your viewers that are watching that may not know me or anything that we do. So we're far away from you. So we're over in the southeast Queensland, just out of the lockdowns. But so yeah, I'm a 5-time business owner now. Not quite where we want to be yet. We still got a lot of work, but yeah. So we've started from nothing, started from a country background, and now I just officially just got my paperwork for my 5th business registration, which if you want to have a look at the paperwork that goes into it, this is the bloody register folder. So we just got our first investor on. So this is the 5th company that separates from my little babies, which is the Purpose label. Mm-hmm. So anything with purpose is my little beauty, as you can see in the label up here. Yeah. So we've got Purpose Fitness Australia, we've got Purpose Nutrition Australia, we've got Purpose Fitness Wear. And then we just also started Purpose Distribution as my 4 little babies. Those ones are with me till I retire or go to the grave, which I'll never retire. I love my work. And then we just started this 5th business, which is a silent business, purely financial business with investors in it. So that's a little bit of a background of who you're talking to, where I'm sort of at the moment. But to sort of answer your question with how I got into the fitness industry and how it all sort of started. So I came from a small country town, well, it's not so small anymore, but Dubbo, New South Wales is where I was born and bred. We raised them tough out in the country, which is good. But so I lived out there till probably I was about 17 years of age until I packed up and started going on my own route in life. But I started getting into the fitness industry out there. Obviously, country town, you're surrounded with small-minded people, and that's no offense, it's true. So the people that I was surrounded with never saw outside the box of what the country life had for us. Country was probably one of the best livings. I learned a lot, I grew up a lot. We had heaps of acres to ride around with, flip some quad bikes, jump in the river, crash some boats, all that good stuff that you do. But alongside that, also came the negative side with small-minded people. We started to get into, a lot of alcohol consumption, young partying, sneaking into the pubs, as you do as a crazy teenage boy. But that was just the country life. And then obviously came the violence that came as well. So street fights were pretty common back there as well. That's kind of the country life that we lived, which was good. It bred the person I am today, and especially from my family as well. I come from a really good, stable family. And I guess coming from that small-minded lifestyle and environment, it really forced me to grow, which is why I am the person I am today and where I am today. Because what I was surrounded with, I never wanted to be or be stuck there. And it's very rare that you see someone from a country town do well. Yeah. And I always wanted to leave a legacy when I died. So when I came from that, and obviously being a teenage boy that, ran amok with his mates and started getting into, drugs and alcohol, I thought, what is in life for me? And personally, that wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to get caught up in that. And I was heading down a bad path. So that's when I started looking at health and fitness. And I was pretty athletic. I was pretty successful in the football, so soccer. I've actually traveled to Brazil for a tournament for 2 weeks over there and played, went into national teams. And then eventually it took its toll when I was very academic smart in school. And then I rolled into, rugby unions and rugby leagues. So I was always sort of into the fitness side in terms of that. I came from an overweight background. I love my food. I'm a foodie. So I came from an overweight childhood, not like severe, but coming through elite sport, it forced me to become better and actually focus on, specific drills. And we started running by, top coaches, which I got really in love with, just becoming better. And, losing weight. And, when you get declined or said, oh, you're not ready this year to come into a squad, made you work harder. And then, you're surrounded by elite athletes and, we used to go 2 hours on a Tuesday and a Thursday night away from our country town to go train. We trained in the snow. And that's just our commitment that we did around school. So that elite lifestyle really built the passion for the fitness industry. And then, so then I got into, rugby union, rugby league later on as I got older. And of course, being a front rower, a prop, being a bigger boy, we obviously had to pack on some muscle, which then that led into the gym. And then one thing after another, I was hooked. I just touched that iron and I never left again.
Yeah.
So about the age of 15, I got my mummy to come as a guardian and sign off on my Anytime Fitness membership. Yeah, as we all did back in the day. And then, so then I just got dedicated. And back then, that was when the EHB Labs boys and all the Instagram influence was quite big. And that's what I kind of got stuck into and really wanted to be, was kind of like an influencer. And that's really how it all sort of kicked off, and just fell in love with the side of learning, the side of getting bigger, more stronger, looking good, feeling good. But then also, you just know when something gels to you. Now, everyone says that they're passionate about their health and fitness and stuff, but I generally just gelled with the fitness industry, that I had care for other people. And obviously coming from a small country town, small-minded people, care wasn't there. We never had support. We didn't have coaches, PTs that actually knew too much. It was just your general mum and dad that just got a certificate that could just run you through it, or just this basic PT. There's nothing extraordinary down there. So it really forced me to grow. And that's really how I got started.
Nice, man. Nice. And that's a killer story, because a lot of people will be able to relate to that, like small town, like wanting to be like probably like a big fish in a small pond, and wanting to, take that leap and move and be that, small fish in a bigger pond, and then getting to where you are now, like running 5 businesses. Like that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't have flipped that switch in your mindset. And I think it sounds very similar. I heard somebody say this about, people back home in Ireland, where the mentality is, yes, we want you to do well, but we don't want you to do better than us. And like, that's that very like small town mentality, where sometimes it's hard to get away from that. I think you could also call it that tall poppy syndrome as well. But once you break out of that and you sort of break that cycle, you're like, no, actually, I want the best for me, and I want everyone to succeed around me, and I want to bring everything I can to bring people to be their best. Whenever you get like an attribute like that, that's whenever you really succeed, regardless of what aspect of the fitness industry you go into. So it's awesome to hear that you went from that, small town mentality and been like, no, something bigger is here for me, and I'm going to make sure it happens.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of like what you said with where you came from as well, in that background with the small-minded people. The analogy that I've used for a very long time is the small-minded people, communities or towns, is like crabs in a bucket. Yeah. If you put crabs in a bucket and you watch one try to get to the top and he's almost about to escape, you watch the rest of the crabs, they'll claw him down so he doesn't escape. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was faced with. And a lot of people who are probably watching this will probably relate as well. You try and do something, you post that you're getting healthy, and you get hate straight away. And that's that mentality. People don't like to see you do better. And coming from where I was from, and also coming from an immature sort of age where people are still learning emotions and, some self-respect, that's what I was faced with. I got a lot of hate, a lot of non-support. So there was no support in mine. So Lucky I'm stubborn and very hard that, I knew what I was. This is why I named my business Purpose, because everyone in life has a purpose. And I had a purpose, and mine was to leave a legacy, to create a family, provide for a family, but then also to care for others. My goal in the business was never to make money. I never wanted to be, it's always like I've always inspired to have a nice big house and, all the nice things in life. But the real core value that I've pride myself off in the business is how many lives can I touch? And when I touch more lives, that's how I leave a legacy. When people can actually look at me and say, I know him and he's a great bloke, I've done my job, and I've helped people. So I believe everyone has a purpose, and a lot of people don't identify their purpose in life. And that's what I bring my business to the market for. It's because I help people become better versions of themselves to identify what their purpose is in life.
Yeah.
Whether that's through health and fitness, becoming a PT, sure, we can help you. Whether that's just getting better in your health and becoming a better mum or dad, sure, we can help you. Whether you want to learn something, we can help you. Or whether you just need a push, you need some motivation, we're there. You know what I mean? So we want people to unlock their potential, but people don't unlock their potential because they're too restricted and limited to the thoughts of others. And so many years I was limited to that, to the point where I got down to the drugs and alcohol part and smoking. And I was like, hang on a second, this isn't for me. I don't want to do this. I watched people around me, lose their lives, or, just completely, you look at that person that you watch do it and you go, I don't praise you. I don't look up to you. And that's when it clicked and the light bulb came in. It's like, well, hang on a second. What is my purpose? And that's when it all sort of became butter on bread, as you would call it.
Yeah, awesome, man. And then when you've decided that you've got a higher purpose and, you want to go with this, what was the first thing that you did? Like, what was the first out of all these 5 businesses, and how did you sort of come from that, that guy, 15-year-old guy gets his mum to sign the form at Anytime Fitness to then where you are now? Like, what was the first step in that journey?
Yeah, first step, I got straight into the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. And I went in and did my certificate 3 and 4 in fitness whilst I was still at school studying. And then from there, that's when not to be arrogant or to be ahead of myself, but I was confident that I was excelling in top of the class for the people that were doing the course. And my mentor at the time actually just praised me. And I completed the course in 3 to 6 months because I just knew it. Before I even did the course, I was sitting there studying, watching videos, learning, and I'd watch like bodybuilders train, and I'd literally write down the mechanical pattern or write down the technique, or whether it was tucking the elbows. I'd literally study these people, these profiles, and analyze, the mechanics of the body and start to learn as much as I could. Obviously, what I knew then was like this compared to what I know now, to the rest of what I can learn. But when I went into the course, I just excelled. That's where the love and passion really came, because I was good at it. I was very academic smart, but that's when you combine, your intelligence to a passion, and that's where the fire began. So at the age of 16, just before my 17th birthday, I was fully graduated. I was the longest lasting PT at a Snap Fitness down in Dubbo. And I had, I was longest lasting, so that says it straight there. I had a lot of clients, and that's really where I started my face-to-face personal training business. So I think it was the 4th of March 2016 was when we first registered Purpose Fitness as a sole trading business. And then from there, it grew. So the next step was the mentor who did my course a couple of years later. I think it was about 18 months later, he resigned from his position. And I got a call from the actual Australian Institute of Personal Trainers to take over his position, because I was highly recommended in the town. So from there, I went to Sydney and did my certificate in training and assessment. And here I am at 17 years of age in Sydney doing a training and assessment course, which isn't major, but it was my next step into an RTO company, where I actually then took on the role of becoming an educator at such a young age. So I learned a lot and started mentoring students to then become personal trainers. And I still am with the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers as a mentor. And with the new businesses as we move forward, where I'm going to actually have a lot more in works with that, but we actually take on students. So anyone that needs to learn, we can coach you guys, and we can get you guys your certificates 3 and 4 in fitness. So that's still go ahead. From then in Sydney, I kind of met my sort of first serious partner. She was 25 at the time. I was 17. Next thing you know, I packed up from my small country town, said goodbye after a year and a half of PT in the gym, and moved my life to Wollongong. And that's where I set up and sort of moved with the partner. So there's a bit of an age gap there, but that just goes to show the maturity that we had. So yeah, just packed up my whole life. I had no savings behind me, really. Like obviously you had a couple thousand, but there was nothing significant to create what I've created today. So I really started from nothing, just started a business, and with no real name, no real backing, moved to a whole new city, town, and just full restarted my life. And that was straight away what I did. I just wanted to get out of that small town. And I was there for about a year and a half in Wollongong, and very shortly, that's when I just exploded. I did my first comp, and that was the 2018 Arnold Classics. So I would have just been for my 18th birthday for that show. And yeah, it just sort of took off from there. I started working out of three of the biggest anytimes. I was in Kiama, Shell Harbour, and Albion Park. Anytime Fitness is there, operating Purpose Fitness as a subby out of those gyms. So, 3 gyms across 3 suburbs was pretty big. And then I also then took over a security role for all the nightclubs in the Wollongong area. So shortly after that, I was promoted as the head sort of manager of the security company. And we looked after 5 nightclubs. So working in 3 businesses all around the clock throughout the day from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. at night, plus training for a bodybuilding comp, and then working 5 nightclubs as a supervisor manager for security. You could say at the age of 18, I was pretty well flat stick. So that's really where the work ethic took in, and that's really where I burned a lot of bridges from fatigue and just overdoing the work. But that's actually what taught me and got me to where I am today, because of just sort of the amount of effort that I put in to create some money for myself and to create a brand. And then also to get myself out there in the security game, because you see everyone out at nightclubs, you talk to people, you socialize, and before you knew it, I knew nearly everyone in Wollongong, which was awesome. So it was great for branding. And then obviously in that time, running a full-time business and in a new town and secchi job full-time, the relationship didn't last. So I was out on my own, paying for a massive house on myself. So again, that's where the work ethic even increased again, because I was a fully independent person at the age of 18, running this business full time, working full time as a security supervisor manager. From then, I got into a sup store down there, Team Flex. I was doing a bit of sponsorship work, a bit of an sort of PT referral work with them. With supplements, obviously that's what I'd use, I'd advise. So I said my clients, I'd help them out with some supplements and give them a discount. And that's where the bread and butter sort of started with the supplement game. Yeah. Shortly after that, it was really the end of the Wollongong trip for me after my 2018 Arnold Classics. Have you ever competed before?
Yeah, years ago back in Glasgow. So
yeah, so you would know, like, it's not easy at all.
No.
So, and for someone of my work ethic to give 100%, that's exactly what I did. I gave 100%. I had no relationship anymore. I just worked my ass off from 5 o'clock in the morning to the time that I could put my head down on the pillow at 4 a.m. in the morning and back up again in an hour, plus doing a comp prep. It was stupid. Honestly, it was stupid. Wouldn't recommend it. But, shortly after that, I burnt out physically, emotionally, mentally. You can't sustain that for 6 months in a comp prep, deplete yourself down to get on stage and still work, 18, 20 hours a day. It took its toll. And I burned a lot of bridges just from a mental burnout. And from there, I was like, all right, I didn't really want to be in here. The Wollongong was sort of similar. And once you knew everyone, it really became a small city town, very similar to Dubbo. And I was like, where to next for me? What is it that I want to do? Because I really only moved there for the partner, and it failed. So we packed up, and my sponsors at the time, Armada Nutrition, which looked after Victory Labs, and it was Titan back in the day and built. They had a store up here on the Gold Coast trading as Elite Sups that they just opened up as an account, and they didn't want to run it anymore. So we got in contact, and 2 weeks after my Arnold's Classics show, I came up here for a meeting, and safe to say the papers were signed, and then I was now a franchise owner of Elite Subs, which is the store that I've got today.
Yeah.
I was with that sort of franchise for about 2.5 years before now rebranding into my own individual name, which is Purpose Nutrition's Australia. So that's kind of the whirlwind of those 2 to 3 years, like very quick changes, very drastic. So as soon as I moved from the country town, it was just go, 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 no real time. And that's just how quickly I grew. I just, once you get the taste of that work and, you know, you kind of get that drive. And I think comp prep was the best thing ever. It taught me, you know, hunger, it taught me dedication, commitment. And that really lit the fire for, okay, well, this is how popular I got. This is where we grew it to. How much further can we take it?
Yeah.
And yes, so we have our 5 company now, and Purpose Nutrition's have been rebranded for just over a year. We've got Purpose Fitness now, which is not a sole trading business anymore. So that in 2018, when we moved up here, that rolled over into a private company. And shortly after that, because we were that busy, we employed coaches under me to help out and work under me as well, as subcontracted PTs. And then, from that pretty much fed into our Purpose Fitness Wear Apparel in 2019. So we started up Purpose Fitness Wear Apparel in 2019. That wasn't a huge staple. It was just more of a additional asset for our customers and members that just wanted to wear something of ours. Yep. It wasn't brought out to be anything massive, but we're going to actually restart that up and really produce some more lines now that COVID is done, and take that to the next level. And just one thing after another, just had a steam on.
Yeah, man, that's pretty intense. Like how you fit, you've got so much done. Like you're still very young, and you like clearly like just kicked a lot of goals along the way. But like, it's hard to imagine like that comp prep with like an hour's sleep and running all these jobs. Like, how long do you think you were able to do that? Like you mentioned the burnout. Like, at what point did you burn out, and what was like the straw that broke the camel's back with that, where it was like you got to that stage just like, nah, fuck, I'm done, like something's got to give, like, you know, I'm too stressed or I'm not getting enough sleep or whatever happened?
The straw that broke the camel's back at that point, I think I was about 2 weeks out from the Arnold Classics. Just stressed out. Obviously I had a house myself. I think I was paying $600 a week for that, plus obviously paying for everything else that I operated. And then my sister and her friend wanted to move up and live with me, but they didn't like the house. They wanted a better house. So we got rid of the house and went onto the market to look for another house. And safe to say, we couldn't get back into the market.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, we had the girls on the application. They obviously didn't have any jobs secured in Wollongong. We were going for a bigger house and more money. We just couldn't get into the market again. And I'm 2 weeks out. So I moved everything out of my house. You know, You've got no help. You're doing everything, moving a house on your own. 2 weeks out, you're sleep deprived. You're only getting probably 30 minutes a night. You might have the one rest day where you get, probably 8 hours, but that's about it. So eight and a half. Yeah, it's not much. That's what really took its toll. And just all the stress and everything just kind of caught up to me. And that's when we really started to make a lot of mistakes. And obviously when you can have when you don't have your stable position, which has been a home, mine's always been a home. I've always lived on my own since I've left home. I've always had my home is my safe place. That's where I center myself. That's where I have my routine. I cook my food. I'm all set up, and that's how I organize myself to be so successful. Without that rock, that's just what destroyed me. And then everything just kind of hit at once. The backup of no sleep just kind of comes slapping me in the face. Run down from comp. I still remember I finished my security job at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd get on the stepper in the gym for half an hour on a stepper, just to get shredded. You know what I mean? And at that point, I was young, naive. I had the goal of being a influencer. So the ego took over. Whereas now the focus and the mentality state is completely different. I was accepted to get on stage, and I just can't do it with work. We've got family. We just had our baby daughter. We've got so much pressure going on with work. We've got new things starting up. So it's like, okay, what's the point of getting on stage? I'm just going to do a comp prep. Why? Why do I want to do it? Is it because people think I should get back on because I've had 18 months off now? Or is it because I want to do it? Like, I love competing, but my family and my business come first. And unfortunately, I won't burn. That taught me a big lesson. I won't burn another bridge. There's more to life than competing. I compete to learn and to grow and to enjoy it. Not like there's much enjoyment in the last final weeks, but it's that whole lifestyle of competing that I enjoy. The discipline, the pushing, the constant progression for better. So that person back then to who I am now, it's just completely different. And that comes from the mentality switch. And that's what a lot of people need. They need to switch the mentality over, stop caring about what other people think, stop thinking that, doing things for what people think of you. You got to let the ego down. And at some point, look at a rational decision and prioritize what it is that means the most in your life. Is it a trophy? Is it a status? Is it a car? Is it a Gucci bag? Or is it something else, something more valuable for family, loved ones, people close to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that taught us. Yeah, so that crash and burnout really taught me. And I never look at anything that's happened in life or the past as a negative. I always go, I appreciate that moment because I've learned so much. And without that, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair, man. And then you obviously get presented with this opportunity to, come into a franchise with the Elite Subs thing. So how did you decide, like, after all these steps in the journey and multiple different jobs, like, was it just presented to you in such a way you're like, I can't ignore this? Or did you really have a passion about supplements and in terms of helping people with that? Or was it just, like, business mind? You're like, oh, this could be a great investment to do this. What was the thought process behind going all in on that supplement store then?
Yeah, so what it was these two partners in the business didn't really want to run it anymore. Mm-hmm. They just kind of started up and then realized what they didn't really want to be involved. So obviously I started from nothing and came from nothing. So I paid one of the partners out, so bought out 50%, and bought in. I learned very quickly that I learned a lot of lessons doing that, because I got slapped with all these overdue invoices. It really taught me a lot when I now look at business and buy businesses, to really, like, never trust anyone, never trust a face. Whether they're family, friend, never trust a face. Mm-hmm. When it comes to lines of credit, whether you're giving someone stock or you're giving someone something out of value off your back, or whether you're going to buy something from someone, never look at the person as a face. You need to have a credit policy in life. You need to stick to it. And that's something I learned. I got burnt. So I bought in at 50% and would eventually pay out the other partner as I generated the wealth. Next thing you know, I got slapped with a negative 30K bill. So next thing you know, we're straight into a negative $30,000 bill. And a lot of people don't know this. Obviously, I keep business confidential, but now we're in a point where we don't need to really stress about that. But yeah, I got hit hard. So next thing you know, we had all these invoices from signage and stuff like that came back that haven't been paid. Okay. And this is stuff that I didn't do because I was naive. I was 18 years of age and I just bought this brand new business or bought into a brand new business. To me, it sounded like, oh yeah, I'm buying a business, but I didn't have guidance or anything to look at. Okay, what am I really getting myself into? So I guess ego took over, but then also knowledge took over. But however, I still don't blame that time because I've learned so much now. So when I go into a business deal, I look at things. It's taught me to be just cross the T's. You know what I mean? Like I look at everything and I pull everything apart and I look at all the sort of equations and what's happening. And I really never trust a face. I just look at the credit line policy, and that's how I apply myself now, which is why, I don't get burnt anymore. Yeah. So, for the first, year and a bit, I didn't take a wage. So, I got back into my security gig up here and started running the nightclubs up here. So same thing again, started working all day on the business, working all night.
Yeah. There's a pattern going here.
I just can't stop. That was single life me, I had no commitment. So, in my mind, I was like, just work. Like you've just got to work. I work around the clock to make my dreams happen. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. But I learned a lot about the body, and like I could sense when I was burning out. So yeah, so that put a lot of stress on me. So I obviously had to clear a debt, brand new into a new city, which was a big city this time. A lot of competitors, big dogs, like you got your franchises like Nutrition Warehouse that have been here for years. No one knows me up here. I'm a New South Wales boy. No one knows me in the Queensland world. So you're just starting fresh. So yeah, the first years of that were really tough. Just took myself getting out there, getting my name out, and working through it. But that was over and done with pretty quick. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized the model that I was in, after buying out the other partner, it wasn't for me anymore. The mission that they were pushing to the mission that I had, my mission was people. I'm in the people business, so I wanted to service the people. I didn't want to burn my customers and telling them cheap stuff because I get the GP on it. That's not what I wanted to do, and I had a lot of policies put in place, a part of being obviously a part of a label or brand, that just didn't sit right with me. I know that's why I've never been employed, because I can't work for people. I work for myself. So, to be told something that goes against my morals, which is helping people, you get the right price, get the right deal, or get the right products for them for what they need. It just didn't sit well for me. So shortly after that, I think it was about 2.5 years, after the other partner was paid out, I folded. I closed the label and rebranded. I said my goodbyes, and they actually offered to buy me out, and I said no. Prior to actually closing that deal, I actually was in negotiations of a new shop location up in Ipswich, and I was going to fork out money to go and start a new store under the Elite banner. But I pulled the pin because you just know when something's not right in the heart. And my morals is, I've been brought up. My old man was Catholic, so I've been brought up in I like to say, a very good family. I got taught the right way. So when it came to doing that, I just knew it wasn't for me. My morals just didn't sit right. That's why it's never been financial, because if it was financial, I would happily sling GP products. I'd happily sling cheap products just to get you customers and make me money. But that's never been my model. So I closed that and I rebranded to Purpose Nutrition Australia, created that company, registered that, and we now educate consumers on what products to use, what not to use. And I don't care if a consumer comes in, takes up 2 hours of my time, or, messages for 2 hours a day. But my biggest thing is, as long as they learn and they know what they're going to need for their body, they've gained trust in me as a business, as a person, to then come back. But if they don't buy anything, I don't care. I'd rather them learn and not feel burnt. If they go and take that knowledge and apply it to their lifestyle and it works, fantastic. If they go support Nutrition Warehouse but have followed my advice and it's worked, great. I'm happy because they've got what they needed. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I am a business, I'm a person who cares. So financial has never been the issue. It's always been, how can I service the people? And there's a big lack in the supplement world where these big dogs are taking over and burning consumers, which is why the supplement industry gets such a bad name. It's like fat burners. Everyone's now not on fat burners because fat burners is the wrong name. Thermogenics is the word that we call it. You know what I mean? So there's all that, and then you had those influencer days where people would just push things because they got paid for it. So the supplement industry got a really bad rap. When supplements have a place in life, and obviously me being a coach, nutrition and training have a place, supplements have a place. But I don't push supplements as the be all. I educate how can people apply supplements to their lifestyle around the nutrition and training that we advise. That's going to be better for the person, because if I can help the person, they're going to gain trust in me. And who knows, they might, gain that loyal respect, and they might be with me for 5 years as a customer. They might only buy one product, but they're buying the one product that's going to serve them. And they're going to have trust because it works. And then you understand why they're using it. Whereas these other companies are just getting customers in, taking $300 worth of their money. That customer goes home, does a bit of research, and the mate's going, mate, you got ripped. They've lost a customer. So you're playing a volume game where you're just spitting and chewing customers out the door. We're a family. That's what we teach. We're a family. We look after everyone that comes into our stores or comes into our inboxes or anything like that. You treat us with respect, and we will look after you. And that's how we work.
100%. Well, that's killer.
So that's how the business sort of started. We did, like we said before we started this chat, we did look at a franchise of the Purpose Nutrition. The same thing. I couldn't control the quality that my staff that I would employ or my franchise owners would deploy in every major city. I couldn't control the quality. So, I could get a franchise owner that had really bad morals, but he's representing my brand. And if I'm pushing a very loyal and respectful brand, and I've got someone under that banner pushing the wrong thing or under the counter drugs or something like that, you know what I mean? It takes one bad word to ruin a business.
Oh, 100%.
And I couldn't control the quality. And at the end of the day, my game was never financial. So I respected my name out in the industry. So if I can have a really good name and I can look after customers and keep that quality, that's what I would do. So our model went to going, okay, well, we're not going to get franchises to grow. We're not going to grow quickly. That's fine. Let's do it slowly, but let's do it right. And that way I control the quality. So the plan was I would front the money and I'd start building all these stores in every major city. I got all the shop fit out and went to go start another store up here in Queensland. And then next thing you know, COVID hit. So that put that store on hold. And then from then, COVID hit again and again. So it taught us now, okay, well, franchises wasn't for me. It would never will be for me. The same thing, I couldn't control the quality that my staff would have, although people that we employ all have qualifications. So we're not just a casual that's for a paycheck. All of our staff, at least coaches, all have the potential to be coaches that can actually provide proper health advice. Not a casual who's getting a $20 hour wage slip that doesn't know anything. But the same thing, we still couldn't control the quality. I still couldn't have enough trust on someone down in Adelaide telling the right story that we tell up here. So that shifted really quickly. And also once COVID hit, that made us realize, okay, maybe that's not something that I can control. So we forwarded that. And obviously after a few lockdowns, we're like, okay, retail's now dead. Retail's dying. It's not going to be here any longer. We've got so many competitors that are popping up retail sites. We're not the biggest store. We're not going to stock all the cheapest brands. So with us stocking higher quality grade supplements that we can push and back with scientific studies, not some back lab cheap, product that we get more GP on that we can slang. Obviously the profit that we get in our stores with the staff in there full time isn't viable. So it really makes you think in terms of business to be more smart and adapt to what's going to happen. A lot of people think about the now situation in business. They want it now. Yeah, it'll be great. It would look good for social media if I had popped up all these stores with cash and, had 4 stores. That's not what I wanted to do. My goal is to control the quality, push out quality information and provide the highest grade supplements. Yeah. And with the shape of COVID, I'm not getting shut down all the time. So I need to be smart. Where's the world going? What's happening in the future? And how can I be ahead of my competitors, although they're not competitors because they're losing at this game? It's not even a game because they think it's a game and they're treating it like a business. I treat it like a community, and that's the difference. So we have no competitors. But in terms of the brand, yeah, we have a competitor. So, how can we be adaptive to overcome this? And simply, this is what's now led to it, where we're going to go to a online basis. We're shutting down our retail site. We just got a brand new warehouse being built at the moment, which should be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll have a massive warehouse. We now import. We've got 2 massive contracts with the USA and the UK. So now we are official exclusive suppliers of 2 top quality brands. So one we've already got, which is Evergen Nutrition. So Honey, remember, 9-time Olympic coach. He's got his degree in biochemistry. All his formulations are top quality. So we have the exclusive rights of that in Australia and New Zealand. So now I can control what is coming through our customs and through our borders and provide the highest grade supplements to our consumers. I can support my local retail stores and they can continue on their missions, but I can educate the stores now. So the mission for me now has gone, okay, well, I'm not going to be a one person and you come to my store and I'll wait for that one person to come to my store to teach. I can now teach at a mass level. I can teach high quality grade supplements with education and how you can apply this to your staff or your customers. So now I have control of the market. I can import the highest grade quality supplements, supply to stores. I can do virtual podcasts with you. I can do virtual, educational seminars. I can just do, Instagram stories that just teach people. And I never liquefy the quality that gets put out or the information that goes out. Everything is controllable.
Yeah.
And that way, we never put out false information. We never burn bridges. We keep a high profile in the market. And at the same time, we can now help not only consumers, we can help our retailers, we can help our outer market of health food stores. So we literally help everyone in the world so we can go global. So, and that's the market that we've gone for now is we've gone, okay, well, it's not so much thinking now and thinking small. And I honestly, if you asked me this 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even known how to do international importing. I wouldn't even know that it would be here. Everything has just fallen into place for me, but it has come from work ethic. But that's kind of just how it started. So now we're just about to get this UK deal in. So this big UK supplement company, they do all athlete testing out of the UK university, and they work with teams such as Manchester United. So big athlete, Olympic teams, elite players they do testing on. So now we have top quality brands that we can actually back that are actually done by, scientists, doctors that actually have scientific studies performed around it, research and development around it. Not someone that's just, gone to a lab and gone, hey, can you put this together? Cheers. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've got quality coming in, which is what the supplement industry needed. We started to kill out. And at the end of the day, GP is one thing. All businesses need profit. All businesses need cash flow. But unfortunately, if you kill off all of your consumers because they lose trust in you and you lose from the business, like, for example, the supplement industry, you have no business.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're chasing the GP and the profits. So we look at how can we help the people? Because when we help the people, we then will eventually in the long term get rewarded from our efforts. And that's how I work my business. I don't work on now. I don't work on myself. I work on the people. And then eventually something will come back good for me eventually.
Yeah, man. 100%.
And that's how I've always worked.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
A lot of people go, you're silly, you should look after yourself. But I've just worked hard. I'm a family man now. So we just had a baby daughter. She's 5 months.
Congrats, man.
Family and looking after those and providing life. That's what I do. I provide. So that's how we work our business.
Yeah.
And that's why now we've got 4 businesses under the Purpose Capital. We've got heaps of growth to do. So we've got probably like another 5 years till we actually hit our full goal that we wanted. And then now we've just got our 5th business just registered. So
nice.
That's a little bit of a long, lengthy story on how we got started and where we're at today.
Yeah, man, that's killer. Like, I think it shows the personality, like to go through like so much so young and have this sort of dogged determination to get to where you want to go. And I actually love the fact that you are that family man. And like you put up a picture of, I think, you in the bath with your daughter the other night. And, I was like, this guy's on my level because he's succeeding in life, but he's also doing a lot of it for family. And I've got 2 daughters, so I know exactly where you're at. But like a lot of people will be seeing like the journey, right? Like that hard work, like the comp prep, the long nights, the multiple jobs. They'll have seen you sort of transition from, like being a franchisee and then building your own thing and going after it. So hopefully, I think this episode will inspire people. But one thing that I was thinking, like, you've been on so many different journeys while you're still young, but you've probably learned a lot of lessons along the way. So if I had to ask you I'm not going to make it harder and say one thing, like one piece of advice for somebody who's maybe doing something that they're not fully in, like whether for you that was the supplement company, like a different supplement company that you've then, said, oh, this isn't like direction I want to go, I want to do my own thing, or whether it was, you living in a different town and being like, listen, I moved here because of my old partner, I'm not with her anymore, what am I doing hanging around here? Whether it's just that they want to move, they want to try something new, they want to try a new job, like what's the one piece of advice that you would give them right now to get them moving forward to where they want to go?
Wow. All right. That's tough. I guess like when it comes down to like whether it's business or it's personal, I kind of combine it into 2. If it's business, if you're doing it for financial reasons, you're not in it. The heart's not in it. You should never do anything for financial purpose because money will never make people. Yes, money makes you happy because you can buy things that you like to do. But if you do not have fulfillment in what you do, that money will never buy the happiness.
100%. Yep.
You watch people that work top end jobs. You know, like I've always thought, I was like, oh, you know what? My next business adventure, I'd like to start an accounting business and, you know, work with stock and trades, because there's a lot of money that goes through those businesses. And, you know, the more you learn about accounting, the smarter you are with financial and cash flow. But I don't enjoy it. I don't like doing my books. Not at all.
Yeah.
So there's no fulfillment. Whereas what I do today, I get customers that walk in and leave with smiles and leave me 5-star reviews on my business.
Yeah.
That's fulfillment. They might have bought something or not have bought something, but I made someone's day. I made someone happy. I made someone better themselves and teach them something.
Yeah.
Or I get clients that transform their lives and just feel brand new. They've come from a really bad time and they're brand new. They just feel like a new person. They're on top of the world. They're happy. They're not depressed anymore. You know what I mean? That's fulfillment for me. So if you're doing it for financial reason in business, or if you're chasing something personally, like whether it's trading or something financial, you need to find financial and fulfillment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll never last, because you're doing it for the whole wrong reason.
Yeah.
Now, the contrary to that is, if you're doing it for personal, never ever do anything in life for the thoughts of other people. The biggest thing that I live by is forget the noises, back yourself, because guess what? You're never going to get support. You will never ever get support, and that's the truth. I can count on the hands of how many people actually say that have been close, that have actually supported. The biggest support that I've got is from strangers who don't know me.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your friend next to you or your family, they're not going to support you. So stop hanging on for people to support you and to praise you. Back yourself, go out on your own, because you would just spend a lifetime waiting for people to applaud you and support you when it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There is never a right time in life to do anything. So take the step towards what you want to do.
100%.
There's no right or wrong in the world. Like, I dropped out of school. I was very academic smart. So I dropped out of school. I was the biggest disappointment, because my family thought I was going to be, I've got a sister, love it a bit, but I was smarter in school. So my parents were like, yep, you're going to go to uni, you're going to be that kid. You know what I mean? Everyone has that one kid or that acer in academic. And I dropped out of school. And I said I'm going to be a PT. I was the biggest disappointment. I left my parents for tears. They said, oh, get a real job. I love them. And they've been my biggest supporters since, but they never knew the potential of what would come. They always knew I had big ideas. But even my parents, they've always supported me, don't get me wrong, but even my parents in that moment, everyone will try and hold you back because of fear. The olden day of life is no longer how we live now. We've got so much opportunity out our hands. Yeah. So if you're waiting for support or that push or someone to guide you through life to do things, it's not going to happen. So kiss it goodbye. You need to take that first step and make shit happen yourself.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Yeah. So just like life lessons, we're going to sum that up. Like, do it for the right reasons, do it for yourself, and do it because you find enjoyment out of it, rather than just chasing something, hoping for that big paycheck, right? Just make sure you love it and gives you some fulfillment, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make you happy in life, rather than just chasing the job or chasing the 6-figure salary or chasing the perfect partner or whatever it is that you're trying to get in life. If it's not bringing you enjoyment along the way, it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And like you said, the perfect partner, there's no such thing as perfect. You got to make it perfect for you.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. I mean, this has been awesome. It's kind of a different focus to what we normally would do on the podcast. But I think there's been a lot in here in terms of just somebody who's just been dogged in their approach of, right, I want to grow and be the best that I can be. So I think there's loads of nuggets in here. I'm going to ask you guys, if you've made it this far, screenshot, tag both Jarrod and me, and we can actually let us know you've enjoyed the podcast, so we can tee up future stuff like this. I mean, I'm sure, no doubt, we'll get you on the podcast in a year, and there's going to be business number 6 or 7 added to that big portfolio that you've got there, and you've got plenty of plans, mate. So I'm excited to see what you've got coming up next, mate. But I do appreciate your time. I know it's mid-afternoon there, and you're probably looking at clocking off work soon. So I appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to come on and talk to this Irishman over in Perth about your life and your business.
No, I appreciate it, and hopefully soon, when COVID leaves, we'll come over and see all your boys over in WA there.
Yeah, 100%,
for a
man.
while, but we just keep getting interrupted. We try to do it all around Australia, but we keep getting interrupted. So, yeah, when we're over that way, we'll give you a bell and we'll have a catch up in person, which will be good.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, thank you for your time, mate. This will be going up this week, a couple of days from now. I'll clip it all together and we'll get it up. So excited to see it, man, and see how it goes down. And guys, if you enjoyed this, again, hit that screenshot, tag us, hit that 5-star review if you're on Apple, and we'll keep growing the podcast with quality guests like Jarrod. So thank you, mate, and have a great day.
Yeah, you too, man. Cheers.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of The O Show. If you know somebody who needs to hear this episode today, please share this with them via message or on social media. Don't forget to also take a screenshot and share it on your story and tag me at Oren McCarry so we can continue to grow the podcast and help more people change their lives with the advice given here. Also, keep the 5-star reviews coming over on iTunes, as that helps people who normally wouldn't listen to the show find it and get The O Show in their ears and drive the podcast forward to help more people around the world with the advice here. Have a great day, and I will speak to you soon.